Russian-linked hackers tried at least 5 times to access Clinton's private email server. It is unclear whether she clicked on any attachment and exposed any account. The State Department released about 6,000 additional email pages yesterday, and dozens of them contain information now deemed classified by the department. For more on this, I want to bring in former Navy intelligence officer and how to catch a Russian spy author, Navid Jamali. Good to see you, sir. Thank you so much for joining us. What's your take on this hacking story?
I think it's a perfect example of why Hillary should not have been using a private email server. I mean, it's, if you're on a government server, there's a level of security that's just not there if you're doing it yourself. And as you said, if there were classified information there, they could have had access to it.
Right. And we don't know what other attempts there were or if anything was successful. I mean, can we actually say that there were no hacking attempts that actually were successful, whether it's Russia or anybody else?
No, you can't. You simply can't. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So what happens now? What kind of vulnerability do you think?
Well, you're going to have to look at what was actually potentially compromised and figure out what the potential risk is. And if it was compromised, what holes you have to plug.
Yeah.
It's a fairly serious development, I would say.
This is one of those things, Dagen, where you say, okay, this is why this has been such a focus, because the loyalists around Hillary have been saying this is no big deal.
Right, they dismiss it. They say, oh, this was spam. Everybody gets spam. I thought that the more shocking story today was in the Wall Street Journal, that there are 2 months of emails from the time she came on as Secretary of State until sometime in March that they are not there. It is not there. And the Clinton campaign has said that her ClintonEmail.com account was not moved to her home server until March. And her representatives have no access to any prior records. Literally, nobody knows where these emails are at all. And the only way we discovered them is because there were some Petraeus emails on the Defense Department servers. And I think that it just adds to it. It's like what we don't know and what we aren't being told.
Yeah. I don't know what I think the bigger story as it relates to Russia this morning is the fact that Russian jets have conducted at least 30 strikes.
That's right.
Targeting anti-regime forces in Syria. The U.S. only given 1 hour of notice prior to the actual strikes taking place. 1 hour in advance, they said it. Do you think this could further escalate tensions between the U.S. and Russia? I mean, the U.S. was there and is there doing its own airstrikes. And here comes Russia saying, keep out of Syria airspace.
Well, look, I'm biased. I spent 20 years. My relation with the Russians goes back to the height of the Cold War. Nothing has changed. I don't see them as anything different than they were back then. But look, clearly it's a fairly big game changer. And let's look at it this way: 14 years, the Russians weren't part of the equation in the Middle East. With 30 jets and a few days of war, they're now part of this discussion.
Jim McAllister, it sure does feel like Putin is saying, look, you don't matter, President Obama. We're doing what we're doing, and you just need to step aside.
Well, it's clear failed leadership, and Putin is the strong one, and Obama's a weak one, and that's very sad, but very, very true.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like this can certainly escalate. Janine, what do you think? How do you see it?
It's very concerning. These are very concerning and frightening times. And the world knows that President Obama is a weak leader. Not only do we know, but the whole world knows. From the red line to what went on at the UN, and Putin basically, thumbing his nose at America and at President Obama. And Obama is just saying we still need to wait and see and research. And meanwhile, the world is blowing up.
Right. The fact that the Obama administration has been very clear about who Assad is and that, repeatedly saying Assad needs to get out. And here comes Putin saying, oh, no. We want to team up with Assad in Syria. This is our partner. Right there, you can see that Putin is choosing sides here and pushing America out of the way.
Sure. Well, again, this goes back to the weakness. We see Obama on a woman's bike with a helmet and Putin's wrestling bears or whatever. It's a sign of weakness. And our enemies, they know that, and they're taking advantage of this situation.
Well, and Janine, it was maybe understood or thought in the White House that if we did this deal with Iran on the nuclear program, that Iran and its ally Russia would get on board with us in taking care of Syria, and they have basically slapped us in the face.
Oh, sure, and it's I would just say more to come. But again, this is very concerning, and Obama is. The man should have been vetted more so than he was when he first ran for president. And this is what we got, a weak leader on all levels.
Yeah, that's right. All right, well, we'll keep watching this. Navid, good to have you on the program. Thank you so much for your insights there.